not afraid to test key values, and I think it's hugely important.
The book sets out that Mr Hockey declared as a child he wanted to be Prime Minister. The book's author, Madonna King, says it tells the public a bit more about the man with that ambition.
We've read out a few lines about a politician in the last few days. This is not a book about one-liners, although there's plenty of those in it. This, to me, is the story of a second-generation Australian. It's the story of a kid who left the camaraderie of the classroom, but cringed at the one child. It's the story of a kid who loved to talk, and he questioned his 10-year-old peers about Whitlam repeatedly about his dismissal, but never strayed from the claim that one day he'd like to have a shot at being Prime Minister.
There's a view among some in the coalition that agreeing to cooperate with the book is a clear part of the strategy to achieve that ambition. To some, that's a normal part of politics. Others are more critical. The book puts the spotlight on some of the government's unresolved dilemmas. In particular, paid parental leave, a scheme that's a constant irritant within the coalition. The book details that the Prime Minister fully briefed the media owner, Rupert Murdoch, about the scheme, but only alerted Mr Hockey with a brief add-on in a phone conversation. It describes Mr Hockey as being irked and offended, but asked about it today, Mr Hockey's positive about his relationship with the PM.
Tony Abbott is, can I tell you, he is an outstanding individual. And I think disappointed some critics about the book as it reveals the fact that we actually are quite, we might have our differences from time to time, but we are very close.
And the book's opened the discussion about leadership by quoting Tony Abbott's Chief of Staff, Peter Credlin, saying Joe's absolutely a contender and he's probably got his head above every other contender. That's annoyed some in the coalition who both think the Chief of Staff's role is to commentate on leadership. Mr Hockey praises Peter Credlin.
Peter Credlin is an outstanding individual, and if we had three Peter Credlins in federal politics, it'd raise a level of assembly and public debate. She's been a huge part of the team. I am a huge fan of hers.
And when asked if he still holds that ambition to be Prime Minister, he says it's a matter for destiny.
Well, geez, everyone seems to have recollections of me when I was 8 years of age, but I don't have so, we'll leave that to destiny, whatever it may be.
That's the Treasurer, Charles Hockey, reading that report from political correspondent Louise Yaxley. Friends and family of Gavin Jones, the founder of the Indigenous media organisation Vibe Australia, the meeting today is his funeral service in Goulburn. His longtime friend, Kelly Ray, says Gavin Jones was a brave visionary and that the organisation he set up 20 years ago to celebrate Indigenous achievement inspired many Australians. Shelley Rays has been speaking to Lindy Carey.
Gavin and I first met just over 20 years ago. We were first starting our business life together and shared a small office space in Surrey Hills. So while I was building up the business in Sydney, he was building his deadly empire, if you'd like to call it that. So we were tight-knit and didn't just share aspirations and have our businesses, but we shared friends and lives and a great deal of fun, good times.
What was his vision 20 years ago? What was it that he wanted to achieve?
He wanted to put Aboriginal people, and particularly Aboriginal young people, front and centre. It was a time when the media weren't portraying Aboriginal culture and older people in the greatest of lights, instead of little a sensational story, and one might argue that that's still the case. And he wanted to get good stories out there, and also a mechanism by which young people could communicate with one another. And he was absolute visionary. He was doing this sort of thing long before anyone knew what Indigenous youth engagement really meant. So he was really quite the innovative, visionary kind of man then and right up until his passing.
What do you think will happen with Vibe Australia? I know that there are several calls for the deadly awards to continue, petitions, crowdfunding ideas. What do you personally think should happen with his work?
Of course it would be fantastic to see his work continue because it was so important and it remains important today. For all the reasons that he started the business over 20 years ago, all of those reasons still exist today. So to put Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander stories out there within the media and out there amongst Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to particularly young people, in order to engage with each other and with their communities. So I really like to think and hope that his work will continue. It may not be exactly the same, but a manifestation of that. I feel so hard to replace Gavin Jones, and as many people have said to me over the last week since hearing of his passing, can you imagine a life without Gavin Jones?
It's Shelley Reyes reflecting on the life of the great Gavin Jones. She was speaking to Lindy Kerr. Cinemas screening projection film have been under threat for years, but now there's a deadline for operators across the country to make the switch to digital projection. And that may force the closure of many small cinemas, including the one in the Victorian coastal town of Port Fairy, as Lily Partland reports.